Welcome back to some professional StarCraft 2, and for the very first time in 13 years, I can welcome you to the Global StarCraft 2 League. Yes, for the very first time, GSL is releasing their replays via Patreon to the people. And I guess that includes me. So let me introduce the Protoss player we don't deserve, but the one we may very well need, with 2 gateways and a forge on the way right now. Or is that just 3 gates? We're gonna find out. It's herO. It's herO. It's a forge. Up against the mainstay of StarCraft 2. The most consistent Zerg out there. It's Solar. But is he consistent enough to take on herO's proxy? It's a cannon run. He's a cannon run. Oh. All right, well, this will be the very first match I cast directly for the Global StarCraft League, and how appropriate that herO is now cannon rushing. He's decided. Zealots, pylons, he's jammed that cannon into the back line, but the Zealots are already on the way. It's a 2-flavored cheese here. I'm sure Solar is in a little bit of disbelief that this is how he's going to start things off here. Roachhorn is on the way. The cannon manages to finish with the help of those Zealots zoning out the rest. And the drone spots... Wow, that pylon is actually walled off. This is not how you usually do a Forge Fast Expand. I can say with some authority. The Zealot getting grabbed by the Broodlings made... Nope, just barely lives, and the shields will come back. Roaches are on the way. Cannon still finding a target. Overlord building. On the other side of the map, herO. In typical herO map, that's not a wall. He didn't wall off. It's only 2 Zerglings, which it could be worse, but... The Zealots give high ground vision. Recalls a single Zealot to deal with 2 Lings. herO has a serious issue with not keeping Zerglings. Like, they're not sending their best. They're sending their Zerglings, their Speedlings, that's most of it, sometimes Roaches. And herO has a tendency to let them in at the least opportune times. But he will be able to shut that down. Now, the thing is, the awkward part of this is that herO hasn't won the game. He took out the expansion, but most of his production is on the other side of the map, hanging out near the rocks. herO wants to expand back at home. Once again, definitely a curious way to Forge Fast Expand. Speed is on the way. Solar cleans up the pylon and the cannon. The Adepts decide to cancel the shade at the last moment. And for now, Solar will stabilize. herO building a nexus of his own, a Stargate as well back at home. He's got the Cyber Core. herO wants to hold on to this pylon as long as possible. I say pylon and not just gateways and forge, because without the pylon, of course, it's going to be very difficult to use them. 8 more Zerglings on the way. Pylon being targeted. I think very well might go down here. Surprisingly, the Zealots and the Adepts are enough. Warp Gate is still only halfway done, so without that, it's going to be hard to reinforce this location. Oracle on the way. Solar being somewhat timid and dealing with it. The Ravager versus Adept versus Zealot. The Oracle comes in to make things a lot more difficult for everyone involved. Looks like the Speedlings will be able to get most of the units here. And now we're in one of the most awkward scenarios I've seen recently in Protoss versus Zerg, where Solar has stabilized, but is not going to be able to find much damage on the other side of the map. herO has managed to hold on to his proxy forge 2-gate here. The warp gates are opening up. If the warp-ins begin, yeah, he throws out... Oh my god, it is a wall. Unfortunately... No, come kill it! Oh, half a second away from compounding disaster. Solar finally gets the pylon. herO walling up in so many curious ways. He's got a Twilight Council on the wall. Starts glaives. And, now what? And where do we go from here? Solar has 36 drones, adding on more. Third hatchery. There's 3 oracles out here now. The triumvirate makes its way in towards the main, but 4 queens to match them. 3 oracles not going to be enough to deal with that. We'll work through the proxy buildings here. Gateways go down with the forge as well. I'm rebuilding a forge at home, both I expect for cannons and upgrades. So herO has turned what was it was a pretty solid start. But I don't think Solar's too worse for wear here. He didn't commit a huge amount of units to taking out the cannons. He just let the hatchery go, and he realized that herO was essentially forced into that damage. He didn't have an expansion back at home. So Solar just minimized losses. Didn't quite deal with the proxy as quick as he might have. But now stabilizing back at home. Oracles burning through the counterattacking lanes. But that does mean the Oracles have returned to herO's side of the map. And that gives a little more space, more breathing room for Solar to add on those drones. Oracles doing their unholy dance here. As herO waiting for enough minerals for a Nexus. Adept Glaives is completed, but there are only 3 Adepts, which is not the most fearsome number. herO all over the tech tree this game. He just slides through, completes the shade. 3 kills. Oh no, the Observer. Okay, Observer goes down. Or survives, rather, the opposite. Only gets 3 drone kills for those initial Adepts. Disruptor drop on the way. Gravitic Drive already being researched as well, so really investing. Burns through a queen. Another drone as well. But Solar is quickly consolidating. He's nearing 60 drones, despite the efforts of the Oracles. Getting a few more drone kills. And Infestation Pit is on the way, which I think means Swarm Hosts are on the table in this sort of game. Bit of an awkward wall off at the natural, if that ever becomes relevant for herO. But he's finally got a third. A lot longer to get here than your average Zerg versus Protoss. But herO's choice to go for the proxy cannon has definitely dictated the pace of the early game. Warp Prism. Double Ruptor. It's gonna come down to the micro now. As herO is just now stabilizing on a 3-base economy, but Solar looking. Oh my, okay. At some point, I feel like just putting a pylon in the wall might be worth it. As herO has a tendency to be less than diligent about keeping a unit sitting there. Unfortunately, the Protoss never invented doors, which their open door society has not gone well when it comes to dealing with Zerg rushes. Ruptor, Prism sliding in, fires a shot, looking for the, well, gets a queen and a drone. Not the most dramatic opening salvo, but at least keeps the Prism alive. And the threat of the Prism, he just rushes to Hive, does Solar, deciding against the Swarm Host, or maybe not even thinking about him in the first place. And instead, I imagine this is for Vipers, Adrenal Gland Zerglings. There's an offhand chance of Ultralisks, but Solar, I think, goes with the more known quantities. Another set of shots. It looks like Solar built some Ravagers and then canceled them to dodge Ruptor shots, and he easily gets away. Vipers begin. Viper. Zergling just gets in almost surprised at what it's able to accomplish. Blink is done, +1. Still sharking around with the Ruptor drop as herO. Looking for more opportunities. He just fires a broadside and kills. Oh, okay. A couple queens died to the Oracles. Why are there Zerglings in here? herO! The amount of trouble these Zerglings are causing. There's the Adrenal Glands. We got some Vipers. already on the field as well. Disruptor shot. They are just not. It's just not. It ain't it. It ain't it. There's a Venn diagram of things that are it and things that are not. And this does not fall in the center or on that first category. The disruptor drop is a mild inconvenience for Solar so far. I guess he hasn't lost the prism. He still has the ruptors. And that is really the only saving grace here. But herO now, moving across the map, bunch of Blink Stalkers, double Templar Archives, which seems like a bit too many. Clearly the direction he wants to go, though. I think he canceled the one in the main. He realized. Deals with the Changelings, but can he deal with the Zerg? Roach, Ravager, Ling, Bane. Colossus in the wall is definitely one way to deal with the counterattacks. Fires a Ruptor. And, oh, Corrosive Bow knocks down an Observer, makes it that much harder to keep track of this army. Still, what happened to the... Did all the Oracles die? They did. I don't know if we watched that or... Yeah, all 3 Oracles, which means no easy revelation here for herO. Ravager, Ling, Bane closing in. herO slowly but surely building that late-game Protoss army, though taking his sweet time at it. The Ravager, Ling, Bane forces herO into position, yanks out the Ruptors. No shots fired yet. Feedback disables some of the Viper shots there. Shield battery overcharge, another disruptor. Finds a small connection. Blink Stalkers on the backline. Archon helping out a lot to tank the damage in the center. He pulls it into the prism. Well, actually, that's a disruptor. Waiting for an opportunity. And so far, herO losing a lot of key units, but not so many that he's not able to pursue. Solar loses... Wait, he didn't lose the Vipers. Some very good micro to keep the Vipers intact here. Very expensive, though. Difficult to keep alive in the heat of the fight. +2 melee is not done, so the probes aren't entirely threatened by the Banelings, though. If both connect, it could be devastating. It looks like we're going to do another disruptor into, well, emotional damage there. The Vipers on their way out again. The Warp Prism, quite an interesting tool for scouting, but a tool for scouting nonetheless. Here comes Solar, looking for another round. Disruptor caught in the center, taken out immediately. Feedback on one of the Vipers. Banelings rolling in the right flank. Yanks an Immortal into the front lines. A Colossus in front of that. Disruptor still in the prism, waiting for a shot. Fires it, looks center mass. Interrupted the Purification Nova. And without it, gonna be difficult to easily deal with the critical mass of Roach Ravager, but the Blink Stalker Warp-In seem like they're gonna be enough. And Solar just barely will not break through here, but does find a lot of damage. Blunks forward, trying to chase down the Ravagers. But many of herO's key splash damage units. 5 Disruptors down, a Colossus, some Immortals as well. Solar refilling back at home. The army supply is about as close as they're gonna be for the near future. +2 is finished for melee and ranged attack here for Solar. And that means he's just gotten a bit more of a power spike to deal with what is essentially just a gateway army with Immortals. Still, he's lost no Vipers so far. A very impressive attention to detail here. Solar looks like he yanks an Archon to the side with questionable effect. Finally loses 1 Viper. Disruptor shot. Just kind of looking around for something. Unfortunately, loses the Disruptor directly after. And herO adds in some charge lots, but Solar, he still has the production. He's got Hive Tech online. There's Adrenal Gland Lings as well. The Roaches, Lings, and Banes. herO still being aggressive here, despite he's kind of feigning his strength. As if you look at the supplies, clearly Solar has an overwhelming army. But if herO can keep on the edge of the creep and keep zoning him out, then Solar might end up playing a little more passive than he needs to in this scenario. I believe Storm is done. It is. There are 4 Zealots in that prism. So... not as much potential as Storm, but a lot more consistent and less expensive here. But herO has tried repeated attempts, even from the start, at doing critical damage to Solar. And Solar has absorbed them all. And relatively easily. Feedbacks, disable the Vipers. Some storms to soften things up. Is there enough to follow it up, though? As it is just zealots in the prism. He can feign like those are Templar, though, and I think Solar believes... Oh, no. Banelings rolled into the north. 16 probes down. Another volley of corrosive bile. Lands in the center. Immortals being added on. +2, +1 for the ground army of herO here. Archon trying to absorb some of the Banelings. Corrosive bile lands on a couple stalkers. Storm pushes Solar back. But 25... Oh, no. And this is the real damn 40 probes. 40 probes. A devastating number. herO may have the army on the field, but his economy is shattered. There is no ability to rebuild this army anymore. He has to do it now, or it's going to be limited to never. Now here comes Solar, realizing just that. Evacuates the drones, gives up a hatchery. Beautiful storm, softens up many of the Banelings and Roaches. Archon's pressing through, warps in what could be the very last army. That Warp Prism has 1 HP, quite literally. Yanked out into the fray. Queen's taken down, but herO still powers his way through. Archons and Immortals are always a threat to the Zerg army, especially just Roaches, Lings, and Drones. Drones off the line. He knows if he holds this, he holds the game. Solar continually reinforcing, but the Archons and the Blink Stalkers are pushing their way through. The Archon adding so much damage here, but will finally be taken down by the Roaches. An Immortal is left out, and despite a valiant effort to break through, Solar is able to overwhelm. Beautifully done. Still, even to the end, a dangerous army. But Solar comes out on top of game 1. herO trying to keep his GSL dreams alive. A cannon rush with a proxy gates. A sharply cheesy opener. I don't know if it got as much as it needed to at the end of the day here. We'll have to see. Going into game number 2 on altitude. Jimmy, I know, it's a big deal. GSL's a big deal. But we're jumping in. Like and subscribe if you want to see more of the GSL. So GSL does, as many of you know, the format. This is the round of 16. Many best of 3s. And I find those best of 3s, in fact, some of them have been under 10 minutes. So I've debated how I want to show these games, because usually I prefer the best of 5s, the longer matches. Not that this one doesn't go an hour, but I do want to show a lot of the good games to the fans. So I've thought about either doing the entire day or entire group at one time, though GSL has uploaded them. Make sure to check out Patreon if you want the replay packs for yourself as well. It'll be in the description, right? Yeah. Though many of the highlights, I've also thought about doing single player runs, like we'll show all the herO's games or Cures or Solars throughout a group. But I'm interested if you got some ideas, because of course GSL is showing the games as well. But I like to think I add a little bit of a different style of commentary, a different angle to it that hopefully you enjoy. So thank you for watching. Thank you to GSL for finally offering this. And of course, later on, it will be the first opportunity to actually cast the GSL finals. So 13 years of GSL, and here we are. And I've watched, I think, every single one of 40... I want to say 40-something finals, but that might be a little high. There was a time... It depends, I guess, if you turn it Super Tournament, Team League, the Code A, Code S, what have you. But this is, of course, GSL Code S. Twilight Council for herO. In Game 2. Immediately headed that direction. No Stargate this time around. Solar with the standard fixins. Robotics facility on the way. Is this DT's? herO. 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 It looks like it should be DT's. He hasn't... I guess it could be a later Glaives with this much infrastructure. Like a big Glaives timing. Yeah. Usually you add the Glaives first, but it looks like herO wants to get so many Adepts out and then just kind of slam Solar with them. I'll see how it goes. The Adepts were handled quite easily last game, but this is, of course, a very different scenario. No proxy gate, no cannon rush. Just a good old-fashioned Glaives all in. Rotorn is on the way. How much does he know? He saw the Adepts. Solar, by this time, he should have seen a Stargate unit as well. There is a single Spore on the way. So Solar doesn't have perfect information, but the Roachwarren is definitely... Oh, he cancels. He cancels the Spore, realizing everything must be focused on dealing with these soon-to-be Glaved Adepts. They don't actually have Glaives done yet. herO was much more focused on getting enough gateways up. Adept shade in. So far, Solar only has 37 drones. A lot of the time, to deal with the Glaved Adepts, you do have to limit your drone count significantly. Glaive's still not done, which means the Zerglings doing okay here. Not getting shredded quite yet. The roach count is growing. herO's just been running around the bases like he owns the place at the moment. The Zerglings and roaches will chase, but herO actually uses this to cover for his third. Correctly assuming he limited Solar's economy. And Solar is just trying to catch up in the worker count now, as he focused so much on the units. I do actually really... No. This is unacceptable. Like... Well, was it a bait? I guess a little. I don't know. I guess it works out better. I don't think that was intentional. Okay, alright. I'm gonna have to pull back on it a little because he had plenty of units in the main, but... Feels like you shouldn't even be giving away that sort of information. Like, there's no gases at the natural. He's got the third. Losing the shield battery. No, okay. herO. It's a real bad habit. The oldest trick in the book, which is... Like, Solar's not expecting to have Zerglings in the main. No, this is disastrous. It's not like... herO's big advantage... Oh, my... herO's advantage was how much he was able to control Solar's economy. But now he's just gonna jump on top of everything. The more brute force sort of blink all in, essentially, with the Adepts. But behind it, instead of having a worker and economic lead, those Zerglings slipping through has made this into, like, he needs to do damage here. He needs to keep control of the situation. Indeed, he very well might. Another group of Zerglings. Oh, if he just built a pylon. Oh, herO. Once again, like, this attack is looking very good for herO. Solar is struggling. But now herO has to warp in Adepts back at home. He's lost 11 more probes. He's gonna lose more in the main. This is unacceptable levels of damage. This all could have been prevented with a single Adept at the wall. Solar is in trouble back at home. If herO was able to just build a pylon, Just build a pylon at the wall. Not to angry coach. A GSL. I forget if herO's won a GSL championship, but not to angry coach. Arguably the best Protoss player in the world. But build a pylon. This cannot happen. Solar's down to 29 drones. Imagine, because Solar sent those lings out anyways, right? So if herO was just able to shut them down and focus another round or two of adepts on Solar on the other side of the map, I think herO's already won the game. But instead, we're on an even worker count. Obviously a stressful situation, but we're on an even worker count. And Solar has held on to all his bases. He's got Ravager, Roach, Zergling. This is still a very dangerous army that very well could break through. Just Shades right on top. 3 Immortals to bash through everything. Corrosive Biles all over the place. Zerglings coming out. The Roaches and Ravagers trying to deal with this. Ravagers clearly trying to get a Corrosive Bile on the Warp Prism. Gonna land one. Queens push back the rest. Still. The Zerglings get into the main. And herO, just as it looks like he's gonna break through, yet again, has lost a critical number of probes. Now, Solar is still on the ropes here, despite everything. Solar is barely, just barely holding on. Like, the unit count, it's 2 units versus 2. There's the barrier there. Some Zerglings are coming. herO has 0 probes. Are you kidding me right now? Are you absolutely kidding? Are you making a joke? Is this a jest? Solar's down to 20 drones, which in any other game would be absolutely devastating. 44 kills on these Immortals. He's had 0 probes. What has happened? It's a disaster. I can't. He's at 0 probes. Like, he's got 60, he's got enough minerals for 1 more probe. How has it come to this? How? He can have perfect Immortal Micro, but... What a devastating loss. Well, and thus ends my first semi-official cast of the Global StarCraft League. herO making the oldest mistake in StarCraft history. I was going to say StarCraft 2, but just StarCraft history. And Solar holding on by the edge of his claws. Solar's had such historical... Solar holds. And I don't blame him for sending those Zerglings out. Well, what do you think? One, I want some feedback. Like, what do you want to see from GSL? Highlight matches, single matches, stories, the whole day? Once again, make sure to check out Patreon for GSL. If nothing else, a dramatic exchange. I can't help myself when I pride myself somewhat on somewhat honest commentary, and that was just an unacceptable level of mistakes from herO. Solar deserved to exploit that, and even then, barely held, but Solar takes it 2-0. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the Global StarCraft League. Like and subscribe. Going for those 1,000 likes on a video for EPing reasons, and I've been talking too long. Jimmy, I know. I'll make a vlog channel or something. I hope I made your day a little bit better. Good luck, have fun. I'll see you next time. Stay chill.